Bam! There we go. It's 8 o'clock. I love it. I pushed the button just like a bank teller does. Boing. There we go. This is going to be a great chapter. This is when Isaac is blessed and he gets his whole deal. And it doesn't read anything about tricking anybody. It's just the way the story goes down. So it's written a little bit different, but this is always the way the Dead Sea Scrolls are going to come up. I've got this thing about the seals up right now because it's just really the latest thing that me and AJ have been working on. And if you know me, I always put together study guides and information to help tell the stories. And when you start reading about the different seals and the things that happened in those time frames, it's easy to put the story together. So, no, I love the fact that Wednesdays is my big crowd. And I love y'all so much, man, because the Book of Jubilees is the inspired, not the inspired Word of God. This is the Word of God that Moses got when he walked up on top of the mountain. And he received the 10 Commandments and he received the Book of Jubilees. And it says so right there in the very first chapter. And it is the, hey, Randy, how you doing? Good to see y'all again. Arkansas Gigi, thanks for joining. Christy B, Randy Staley, there she is. All those people coming into the room. This is my favorite class. This is Wednesdays. This is my Jubilee class, man. And this is when the people, we get a lot of downloads. And the people, if you haven't downloaded the study guide yet, there's just thousands of people that download the study guide for this thing. And I can tell you real quick, if you go to, I'm going to show you. If you go to my bio page and then click on my link tree, before we get started, if you click on that link tree right there, it will go to that page. And we're on the Book of Jubilees, chapter 21. This is a great study guide. It's a couple of pages. I think it's about 5 pages, and you can print that off and read right along with us because it's really cool. The latest thing that we've been working on is all the study guides for the seals and the 7 seals document. There's a lot of high quality content on the Patreon page, the Book of Jubilees that you can print out for yourself, the 7 seals document. Those are all real cool. They're right there on that Patreon page if you click on that while you're there. It's not that big of a deal. That's just really a big help to me. It's like $3 a month to join that, and it's just all the access to all my pictures and audio content, my audio books and all that stuff are right there. And all these 7 sealed documents. And AJ was just putting some stuff together. He was like, and we're going through the seals, me and him, each one of them one by one. And we did the 4 horsemen. And we were in the studio all day today. And I'm going to tell you something, man. Working with him side by side, and we were just sitting there, both had our trumpet shirts on, representing hard over there. We had the charts behind us, and we just went through it seal by seal and page by page. And the first one was the white horse. And, he's 26 years old, so it was really cool that he was like, man, I sort of get it. And I was explaining, hey, dude, that white horse, man, with the crowns, that's my guy. No, you're not late, man. This is 8:04. We're just getting started. And I'm literally just talking about some of the other work we did in the studio today. I say the studio, this little room that we've got is not big, but it's got all nice lighting and all that stuff in it. I love it. And all my Bibles are in the background. I just redid a lot of stuff. I turned my fan on because it's hot. And but I redid my shelves and all that stuff. I got all my Bibles. Mr. Morris, when you get in here, there's yours right up there. Randy's yours is over printing and bound. And then I'm waiting on the people to give me the stuff for the edging on the leather, and I'll finish that up. But I just redid all that stuff. I got my ship up there, and we're all ready to study the Book of Jubilees. Look at that, man. I got all my little glove over there. That's what I do. I love doing that stuff, man. I love printing all of this stuff out for you. And, oh, man, you know what I saw today? Oh, check this out. Oh, this goes right with the seal. They were connecting the royal family to William the Conqueror. I got something for you, man. The devil. Watch this. All right, so they did this one, and they went, he is whatever. And then she is whatever. And they keep going down to William the Conqueror. Well, William the Conqueror is right there. All right? That's William the Conqueror. And it goes on down, Elizabeth and what have you. And right there, man, sprig off of Robert the Devil. Shut up. That is, man, 133. Now remember this. Jesus Christ was crucified in 33 AD, and he said he's going to bound the devil. He must be released for a little season, and then the rest of the dead yet live again. You remember that part? So that's at 1033, like totally going to happen. And right there, man, Robert the Devil, just a bunch of sickos cruising the turf. And he is right there, William. I'd show you a better picture. I love this. He's William the Conqueror. He's like his whatever. And then it blends right into William the Conqueror, and then goes right down the kings to Henry and all of them. Edward, William the Conqueror, Robert the Devil, 1033. Shut up. That's just crazy. You know what? The devil will be released for a little season, and in 1,000 years, 1033. Billy's name is the devil. Oh, you know what? It's in the Marvel movie. That new Marvel movie. That guy with the dark eyes and he makes everything turn dark and all that stuff. Do we hit our goals? There you go. We'll touch this. Gigi's having to help me today. Uh-oh. No, that's a subscriber. You got to touch that one. And set up a new one. Y'all are going to have to help me here. Edit. And then you pick one of those things. And see,
let's just do roses for...
And then do that. Okay. You know what? Me and Gigi, AJ does not feel good. So he's not able to help me push all the buttons today. But no, this is not the little season. The little season was for 3.5 years. And, Jesus was alive for 3.5 years after John was beheaded. So I want to show you right here what's ironic about 1033 in 3.5 years. Right here in 1033, this dude was the Pope. He was 12 years old. Jesus appears in the temple at 12 years old. This is all, no kidding, this is what happened in 1033. And he led for 3.5 years, 42 months. He led the congregation and all for 3.5 years, and then he got out of it. Right there, he led for 3.5 years, and then he got out of it, and he tried to sell the papacy. That's the Pope, not Robert the Devil. That's his boy, the Pope, and he was 12 years old when he went into the papacy, and that was in 1033 when they did that. Now, you know what's weird is the sixth seal in that book we're doing, and it's on my Patreon page, man. If you go, this is all this there. And me and AJ are doing it seal by seal. We did the first 4 seals. Well, this is this fifth seal, sixth seal. Yeah, this is 1033, and I timed it perfectly with the chart. And it says there's an earthquake. There's an earthquake in Jerusalem. The Pope leads for 3.5 years at 12 years old, and they kick him out because it says as though a demon from hell sat in the chair of St. Peter. And so that was the little season, was that 3.5 years. But the madness in the world that everybody's like going, it's got to be the devil. No, actually, in 1033, after the 1,000 years, the rest of the dead yet live again. And of course, I've got a scripture that tells you exactly that right there. But the rest of the dead live not. Thank you so much for the gifts. I certainly appreciate it. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Body, he got out of the grave at 33 AD when he died at 33 years old. So the clock starts immediately from that day that he chained the devil away. So 1,000 years later, when the rest of the dead yet live again until the 1,000 years are finished, that means in 1033 AD, Junior and all of his friends get out of the grave, and that's all the crap you see. And you go, this has got to be the little season. No, it's not. This is the minions, man. When Billy Bob gets out of the grave, out of that in 2,000 years, because it says it really quick. It says it real good in the other verses where the people that are affected by right here, the people that are affected by the first resurrection have nothing to do with the second death, and they will all be praised for another 1,000 years. That's 2,000 years later, man. That's 40 jubilees. And 40 is not a good thing at all. And there it is going to be, they're going to be, the second death is 2,000 years later. So it's, it's 3.5 years is how long that little kid Pope sat on that. And did it do it all over again?
No, it didn't work.
It didn't work. All right, hold on. That's a new subscriber goal. If you touch it when it's that star, now you got to touch it when it's that thing.
You can slide it too.
There you go.
Keep talking.
I'm sorry. Well, anyway, we're right there. We're right there in 2025, 8 years away from that period of being 2,000 years after Jesus' crucifixion. But 1,000 years later, that is the little season right there for 3.5 years. And that's when the rest of the dead got out of the ground, and that's when the rest of the dead yet live again. Let me change some pictures real quick because I don't. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is frustrating.
I know we don't need to worry about that, man. We're gonna have to just put up with this, and it's not gonna. I'll sit there and keep that on there. You know what? When AJ is very efficient at being able to flip through the screen and set up goals, and my wife, one, has these big fingernails to touch the screen. We're not gonna worry about it, huh?
Okay.
We're not gonna worry about it. And that's one thing I hate that we really do try to put all this stuff together, and it makes a big difference. And I'm sorry that AJ, he didn't feel good right here at the last minute, and we're going to go without him. Somebody was just asking me about the second death and the little season, and no, that's not it, man. It's the rest of the dead that we're all seeing right now. So it's really, so do you know what will happen in 2023? No. He was crucified at 33. Ooh, I got a better chart. This is the latest thing we've been working on here. Is I got a picture of it right here. That one. We went through each one of the 7 seals. Those are the first 4 right there. And then as it goes through, you can see right here, that's when Jesus was crucified in 33 AD. So if he locked away those souls for 1,000 years, then he's released for a little season. I put a lot of work into this. It's 1033 is when that little season began. And it was probably as long as Jesus's little season, which is 40 and 2 months. He lived for 3.5 years after John the Baptist was beheaded. So that's that. But anyway, we are going to do Jubilees chapter 21, and I am super double excited for this. It really means a lot to me to be able to bring you this stuff, and y'all support that y'all show me through the Patreon page and all this stuff. That really has been a big deal because I get to go through each one of these seals. Me and AJ just did the first 4 of them, and it was, I think, right through here. Yeah, we got up to this one right here with the pale horse, and it starts talking about the star that fell and how David poisoned the water of Gihon and the true waters that came out of the Gihon springs and how they were all sealed up. And, so many people try to think of the star, and that is the opposing triangles of as above, so below. It's 6-sided and 6-pointed and has a 6-sided shape in the middle of it. It is 6, 6, 6. Right there. You can just do that. And it is as above and then so below. Pale horse of death, man, there's so much about that. And we were just talking about it, and he was asking me these questions, and I was just like going, that page, I want to print that. So page, I'll click on the other one. You need to go to my Patreon thing, and AJ will have all this loaded up because we're literally doing all the seals. But this breaks it down so good. And it breaks down, the thing is we're having to go through the seals, and then actually it's the seals, and then they're every 1,000 years, and then it's the trumpets announce, and you can just see the trumpets announce what's going to happen in that 1,000 years. So the seal is broken. It announces what's going to happen in that 1,000 years. That's the watchers, and they were given a great sword. And then it says they were cast to the earth, and all these things. Really cool, man. So it gets right up to there. Hey, I want to print that page. You know what? Georgia Peaches, you print that page. And these are all cool. These are climbing right up the charts with the little season. I always like this, because he started off when the first thing was the first seal. I was like going, dude, that white horse, man, that's JC. And that's Jesus Christ. And he's on the white horse when the heavens rolled open. And the white horse came out wearing many crowns, and he had a bow. And that's the bow. That's the covenant, man, that man was given. And he was given, the purity of God until he ruined it and opened his eyes. And but he started out telling go out and take dominion over the earth, and that it says go out and conquer what you can conquer. So just an amazing story and how it all fits together. Knowing that white horse, it would never be confused with another white horse, and it wouldn't be, oh, that's the bad white horse. No, it's the white horse. And when it says that it opened with the thunders and all that stuff, that's when the heavens opened up and the white horse that comes in. And it says it in the other scriptures right there, Revelation 19. And I hate to put these glasses on. And I saw heaven open up, and there was a white horse, and he that sat on him was faithful and true. That's, man, that anytime you see a white horse, that's in Revelation 19. Anytime you see a white horse with a crown, Jesus, that's who that is. So anyway, and it just steps right in. And then the guys that taught us how to make swords, ironically, 1,000 years later, that's the red horse of war. But all of this is on. This is some great information. AJ just really did load all of this stuff up into the Seven Seals documents. We did a podcast on it, and it is going to be right there. Go to my bio page, click on my link tree, and then it'll take you right here. Now, tonight, you want to download this. It's about a 4-page document, and then we're going to be reading the chapter of Jubilees, chapter 21. In just a moment. But that's Enoch 6. We read that last night. Ooh, man, that talks about the firmament and all this stuff. Pretty cool chapter. And then that's my Patreon page. That's where you want to go to get to here. And it has all the photographs, all of my work, and all of this stuff laid out, all of my pictures out of my old bottles. Really, it's only like $3. That's really the big support that y'all can do for me, is being a part of that. And it's, like I said, it's $3, but it's got access to all of my work right there. And it's just a super great thing. This Seals document is what we're working on right now. And he, from a 26-year-old aspect, he got brainwashed today with having to do all the editing and all for the 4 seals. So it's a lot. And I know that he was tired. I've sat there in that bed when I put this puzzle together in my head, and I sat there just like I know that he's doing right now. I went, man, my brain hurts. And I was so proud to sit there and see my son, 26 years old, reading that and going over that and all that stuff. So, I'm not going to sit here and try to push the buttons and make the little things work that he does, because I don't need to keep up with that. I need to keep pushing these messages, and I'll let the kids keep pushing the right buttons. I get asked all the time, what seal are we on? Where are we at? And I can tell you that 1,000 years after Jesus Christ was crucified, he went into the ground and locked the devil away, and the martyrs were released, and they walked through the city streets of Jerusalem, and that happened in 33 AD. So 1,000 years later is when the little season is, and he must be released for a little season. So, and that's when the rest of the dead yet live again too. So just know that happened in 1033, and there was a great earthquake, and there was a pope that was 12 years old that seemed as though Satan himself sat on the throne. And we're right here. We're in 2025, living with the rest of the dead that got to live again, and that's all the craziness that you see in this world. I really do appreciate the ability. I pray before we do any of this work and before I push send on any of this stuff. And, I was really hoping that I might have been wrong on some of these things, and that God was going to cast the TikTok down, and which I asked him to if there's something not correct about my work. And I'm going to tell you what, it went right through, and I was like, oh my gosh. I asked, please strike this down. And I thank y'all so much for the gifts. I certainly appreciate y'all tapping the screen and all of that, and all of the people that are patient with me and that put up with me and that support me. I certainly appreciate that. I keep trying to work hard for y'all. We put a lot of work into that. So if y'all get that study guide, it's right there on my Linktree page right there. If y'all go get the study guide, we've been on for 20 minutes, and I think we got a good room in here. And let me get up. Oh, did y'all like that? How it connected? The royal family connects to William the Conqueror. I just love that. Watch this right here. It's the devil. Right there. Touch that button. There's William the Conqueror right there. and that's Robert the Devil. 1033. I told you it's 1033, man. That is a dude named Robert the Devil. And then uh, the Pope at the time was 12 years old for 3.5 years. So, what do you do? What do you do? 1033. 33, there he is right there, Robert the Devil, with at least 3.5 years. That's the only place on this whole map of time that the word the devil comes up. It was funny that they said William the Conqueror right there. They're going to link him to her and then to him. And then all of these people are related to his granddaddy, Robert the Devil. That's funny, yeah. There's a big dragon in there. If you go to London, there's dragons all over the place. I guess it's the crest. And you can go to the bridge, and you can go where they're at the bottom of the bridge. I got a bunch of pictures of these dragons, man, so I get it. Let me touch my study guide. Ooh-wee, I love it. I told you there was an earthquake right there in Jerusalem in 1033, and then it was a 7.3, and that's the sixth seal right there. And it said, and lo, I beheld, and there opened the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. I mean, that's right when that Pope, I was telling you, that Pope right there, he was 12 years old. He's in the papacy. This is 1033. And then right there, he was the papacy. And at the 1,000-year death anniversary of Jesus Christ. And that dude right here was in the thing, the 1033. That was the Pope. This guy, the whole separate matter, he's connected to William the Conqueror, and this dude's name is Robert the Devil. And that map of time is 23 foot long, and man, that's just crazy. That's the only place where it says the devil on it. So that's what I got to say about that. Go get that study guide because it's really cool, and it looks like this when you click on it, that Book of Jubilees, chapter 21. And then when you get to the first page, yours is going to look all nice and clean, and mine is all marked up because I love to read off of this thing. Those ring glasses, they throw the green screen off. It's because it's that white light, my white beard, and all that stuff. So I'm going to do my best to read without these things. But I want y'all to see this is all about Isaac and the blessing of Isaac and Abraham calling Isaac his son and instructs him to bless him. And it's just really cool how it tells you what not to eat, like live blood and these things, and not to worship these idols. And I just think it's funny that some of these people, they're like, hey, I was 175 years old. And when they flooded the earth, which was before this period, God said that I was going to let man live until 120 years old. And the first person on the map of time that was 120 years old that sticks out is Moses. He was 120 years old. And he's the dude that walked up on the mountain and got the Book of Jubilees, which is this thing. And it says, I love this part, man. I'm going to drive this home, man. This is why I bought this one pearl right here. And I sold all my other pearls to buy this one right here. And saying, come up to me on the mountain. This is chapter 1, verse 1. And come up to me on the mountain, and I will give you 2 tables of stone of the Torah and of the commandment, which I have written, that you may teach them. Okay? That's right out of the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's nobody that denies that that is not a legitimate book. They found it. I think it was in the top 10 copies of... Out of the top 10 documents they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that was in like number 8 or so. So it's not, folklore by the church. I can't stand when people, say that. It was Dead Sea Scrolls. Those people went over there thinking they were going to find Solomon's temple and the Ark of the Covenant, Solomon's gold, and all of these buried treasures. And all they found was a bunch of scrolls rolled up, and they're like, man, there's a book that reads exactly like what we're finding, and it's in the hotel nightstand right there. Well, I got my crowd on here. That's my 241 people right there. And if y'all are outside the room, come on, click on that link tree, go to my link tree, and then go to the study guide right there and download Jubilees 21 because this is real cool. And all my pictures and art and my work, I want you to be able to copy it. All of these pictures are over 150 years old, so I want you to use them in your work too, because that's really what this is all about, is, to spread this word. There's really good access to some of my other works there and more of a private type thing where I can speak with you and talk with you on the phone and all that stuff. And those are all through the channels within that Patreon page. But I'm going to read through Jubilees 21. I'm going to read the first page, and then I'll take a break. And so the seal started after Christ? No. The seal started at the beginning. Hang on. I'm so, hey, look, a squirrel. But what got me started, let's do this. What got me started was a day is after 1,000 years. And the first seal is the white horse. And that started at the beginning of time, 4,000 BC. And if you take 1,000 years, each one of these, that's when the Watchers came. That's when Enoch was taken up. That's when Abraham was born and he had the famine in Egypt. That's when David was on the earth and he was the first king and a star fell. And there's a whole bunch of weirdness that happened with him. Remember when they thought that he was slain and he got no heat? And he's the pale horse of death. Those are the last words of David. But the fifth seal is Jesus. It's so evident when you read the fifth seal and that he went underneath the grave, and he that ascended is first, that he both descended into the lower parts of the earth and chained the devil away for 1,000 years. And then he was released for a little season right here, and then he is out after the second death. And those that are affected by the first resurrection are not affected by the second death. So it's a second 1,000-year period, and it's actually 40 Jubilee periods. So it's real cool. I'm going to keep my head down here in the bottom corner. I just wanted to answer that question because I know my moderators, they pin up stuff like that. And if you just started joining me, I put these seals together, and I've got a better, even better document that me and AJ are working on right now. And it really does lay it out good. But understanding how the seals go up, and then how the trumpets of announcements go up, and then they announce what's going to happen in that next period, and then the bowls of wrath are what happens in that period. So the seal is broken, and they read what happens in that period. And that white horse, man, anytime you read a white horse, about a white horse and all that stuff, what does it say behind you? These are all this little chart that I made, and I know it'd be hard to zoom in and look at it, but we're right up there at the top, right by the seventh seal. And this is so easy to know that this is Jesus Christ when he locked the devil away for 1,000 years and he was released for a little season. And so many people want to know why all the madness is in the world. It's because we're not in the little season that lasted 3.5 years. Why does it stay behind your head? What does it say behind your head? I don't know, lots of stuff. There's a lot of things on that map. As it goes through each one of the seals. And that's why it's best to look at it on a PDF, because you can just zoom into each one of these and it just goes right into a lot of great detail. And you can see it's very clear. You can zoom right into each one of those things. So that right there is just to show you that I took forever for me to put this in there. But it does lay out exactly how the seals are every 1,000 years, the ones that were broken in Jesus's birth, and then when his resurrection and crucifixion was right here, the 1,000 years after. It just so easily explains that second death and all. And then this is where we're living, man. We're living in that 1,000 years, and the rest of the dead yet live again right there. So we're in it. And then you can see all these weirdnesses are all let out, and you can see the brightness of the sun and the translucence of Jesus Christ and all. And he was the sun and the poison and of the water. Remember David, he ended up having the Gihon springs, and King Hezekiah, the kings, they sealed up the water that came out of Jerusalem. Oh, why did you do that? The Gihon ran around the Garden of Eden. Man, that's the only one that's mentioned that runs outside of the Garden of Eden and encircles the Garden of Eden. And it used to pour out of the eastern gate and run around. Thank you so much for all the gifts. I certainly appreciate it. And it ran around the city of David, which is Zion. It's so cool. It's so cool. I love doing that. See, you got me off track. Go to my Patreon page, and all of this stuff is broken down. I break down each one of them. Thank you so much, Dan. And I break down each one of them and the scriptures that go with it. So it's better if you just take it like one seal at the time, and that's what me and AJ did. We got in the studio, and we sat there. I got some pictures of it, man. We sat there
That paper that you're showing with the seals, is that up somewhere where they can print it?
It is not. It is what me and AJ were in the studio working on right here. And he will be uploading the first 4 seals, and they will be going into the Patreon page tomorrow. And that's what AJ's working
So
on.
the sheet that you keep showing is not anywhere to be uploaded?
That's not anywhere to be seen, because there's a lot to explain with that. And this one, though, I can tell you that this one is. This one's all over the place, and that one's right there. So that one is something that you can take a screenshot of. And we're going through these seals, but the other one, I don't want to confuse people of how the seals and the trumpets and the bowls connect. So I just want to make sure those are, as we have my people that are in the Patreon page, we literally filmed the first 4 seals today. AJ racked his head editing and putting some of those together, and he'll upload those tomorrow. And I believe that he'll have that uploaded and how we're going through those seals document. And that is just it's a great course that comes with that. And again, that Patreon is free to join and get on the list and all that stuff, but I think you're into the $3 a month category, and that's supporting the trumpet if you want to. And once you get into that category, then these are all the seals, the documents, and those are all those paperwork is in there that's about like this. That's the 6th seal. It tells with the earthquake, and it tells you about the Jerusalem earthquake and the 7.3 magnitude. It's just it's so when you see it lay out, it's pretty easy to see how that goes together. And I really do. This one is available right now. I think you can see that on my link tree and all that stuff. And but this one is a little bit more complicated, and I'm really sort of laying this one out slower. Because it connects them, and I don't want to confuse people. I think once AJ got to about here, and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm serious. That's why his brain hurts right now, because you can't unsee it. And so just know that I certainly appreciate all that. It is the support. But once I saw this, I said, "This is what I have to do." So I know that it's free to join the Patreon thing, but the part that does $3 a month, that really does support me. And then there's 2 more plans after that actually put me on the phone with you, and just great content where it's one-on-one. So that's all available, and I appreciate all of y'all's support. But like I said, looking at some of these things up close, people say, where are we at? Remember, 1,000 years after Jesus Christ was crucified, that the rest of the dead live again. And we're right here, man, with the rest of the dead, the knuckleheads that are running around. I don't care if I get in trouble for that. That's why that stuff's on Patreon too, man, because these people get sensitive. You start talking about beheading people and what have you, or, your grandchild or whatever, and you just say that a couple of too many times, and man, they will just blink this whole thing right off, and all of a sudden, my message doesn't get. And I'm like, you can't even read the Bible word for word without getting a content violation. You can't ask it to draw a picture for you, or it will violate the content. And you say, "Hey, man, you just read that verse. Can you draw that in a picture?" And go, "No, man. That's ooh." You're like, "Well, that's the Bible." No, that's not cool to draw the Bible, man. That's sort of harsh. All right. Anyway, we're right there, 8 years away. Any more questions in that? And I'm going to jump over to the study guide, because it has been 30 minutes, and I do have this to read it. I have to read it. I hope y'all have all gone to the bio page, click on my link tree, and then go get the study guide for chapter 21 right here. And we've been doing this every week. It's the year of the Jubilee, 2025. We're reading the Book of Jubilees. It has 50 chapters in it, so we're reading one each week of the year. And the Book of Genesis has 50 chapters in it, and this is called the Little Genesis. But nobody taking this class is going to tell you that this has less information than Genesis. This has names and receipts in it. By years, we're 7,000 years. We are looking for the 7th year, the seventh day, the 7,000th year. So after the sixth day or the 6,000th year, that's when Satan's released from his prison, as far as I can break that down. And a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day with the Lord. I'm with you. That's what, I don't know what some of the questions are. I'll let them pop up. There are people that have been on here longer with me that know sort of a little bit about these seals, but once you start to lock in the things that happened, and you see the events that happened, then there's no denying that they are one after another. It says, and then the angel blew, and then the angel blew, and it one after another. So once you know the pattern, and once they hit, I'm not saying that some things didn't happen that are very similar to them, but I can almost call you date for date when those things go through. So I appreciate the people that are helping explain in here, because I can sort of see that happening. Y'all people are just amazing. And what is it? Genesis. You can look at Jubilees. Moses wrote Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy. It says so at the end of Deuteronomy. Moses wrote those. And I know they were God-breathed. And at the end of Exodus, which Genesis means the beginning and Exodus means the end. And at the end of Exodus, it says that God wrote with his fiery finger the 10 Commandments. Know that. Do I teach the rapture? I'll tell you all about it. And so it says God wrote the 10 Commandments. But in the Book of Jubilees, it says that God wrote the 10 Commandments and the Book of Jubilees, or the covenant with that, and gave it to him to teach people with. And ironically, that's the only one that the church has sort of pulled from circulation, going, it doesn't meet canon. I'm like going, well, canon means it tells who wrote it, and it tells if it's useful for teaching. And the very first chapter and first verse of that says who wrote it, that it was written by God, it was given to Moses, and he was supposed to use it to teach man. So that just is really, when I read that, and I realized that's one of the books I tell you not to read, and I'm like going, okay. And then I found out that was in as many times as there was the book of Genesis and Exodus in the cave, 2,000 years old, was the book of Jubilees. And we're getting ready to read it. All of this was in there. And no scientists that went there said, no, man, that's hogwash. They were like, yeah, man, the book of Genesis we found reads just like Genesis. Exodus reads just like Exodus. And then the book of Jubilees, yeah, I guess it sort of reads, sounds like Genesis. We'll call it the little Genesis, and we're out of here. There's no Solomon's treasure and no Ark of the Covenant, and all the Indiana Jones just up and left and went, man, that's a bunch of copies of a bunch of Bible books, and they read exactly like they do. So you could ask about the rapture, man, and I guess you're talking about this rapture when people are evacuated off of the earth and, sucked into this heavenly realm. And just like that movie Left Behind, and I think that is totally Hollywood. I don't think that happens whatsoever. It does say that we are all changed in the twinkling of an eye, and we do not all rest. But I can tell you that it says the books with an S, the books were open, and another book was open, and it tells about the 3 books that are open. So there's different periods of when you're caught up to judgment. So that has when you're brought in front of the book and the throne and all that stuff and you're judged, you can say that's your little caught up trip right there. But Jesus Christ himself said, and it's in red letters in Matthew 24, Jesus Christ said that immediately after the tribulation of those days, he will have questions at the end of Jubilees. I'll answer these questions. And it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and you shall see the sign of the Son of Man coming in the sky. And it also says, and that all the tribes of earth will mourn. So just know that me, you, and everybody watching right now, all the tribes of earth will mourn. And it says immediately after the tribulation of those days. And that's the word straight out of Jesus' mouth. So I do know that after we mourn and we're caught up and changed in the twinkling of an eye and judged in front of that book. I do know I've read about the 3 books, and there is one book that they are the Grandma Squad, man, they go straight into heaven. And then there's the book of the people that are probably me and you, and we're going to go over here for a half of a month. And then there's the 3rd book that gets those people all get destroyed. So I guess you're sitting over here in the 2nd book watching the grandma group go away for being perfect, and then the 3rd group gets destroyed, and I guess you get to sort of decide, what you want to do with your life. And then in a half a month, you'll be changed. I guarantee you, when you start seeing those people get destroyed, you'll be changed in a twinkling of an eye. You'll be going, because all the tribes of earth will mourn. Gigi's not even pinning any more questions after that. That means read, boy. Read, boy. You're in the middle of Hebrews 4, boy. It is. Hebrews 4 is about rest. And Jill's daddy knew it quite well. Jubilees 21. Abraham called Isaac his son and instructed him and bless him. And in the 6th year of the 7th week of this Jubilee, Abraham called Isaac his son in 20:57 a.m. after man, and commanded him, saying, I am become old, and know not the day of my death, and I am full of my days. And behold, I am 175 years old, and throughout all the days of my life I have remembered Yahweh, and sought with all my heart to do his will, and walk uprightly in his ways. And he is the living Yahweh, and he is Kodesh and faithful, and he is righteous beyond all, and there is with him no accepting of men's persons, or no accepting of gifts, for Yahweh is righteous, and executes judgments on all those who transgress his commandments, and despise his covenant. And do you see, and do you see, my son? Observe his commandments, and his ordinances, and his judgments, and walk not after the abominations, and after graven images, and after the molten images. And eat no blood, and at all of animals, or cattle, or of any bird which flies in heaven. And if you do slay a victim as an acceptable shalom offering, you shall pour out its blood upon the altar, and all the fat of the offering on the altar, with fine flour and meat mingled with oil, and the drink offering them thereafter on the altar of the burnt offering. It is a sweet savor before Yahweh. And you will offer the fat of the sacrifice, or the thank offering on the fire, which is upon the altar, and the fat which is on the belly, and all the fat on the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and all the fat that is upon them, and upon the loins and the liver you shall remove, and together and the kidneys. Y'all are going to freak out on this next page, because he tells you what kind of wood. I heard to dry wood out and all that stuff, and to season it, and that old country boy, and he was like going, man, you dry that wood out and it's lost its flavor and its savor when it goes up to heaven. This is all, it lists off all the different kinds of green wood that you are to burn in this offering. And then it tells you, hey, since you ain't got a refrigerator, we're going to cook all this stuff, and then you got just a few days to eat it, and then you got to get rid of everything, or it'll be an abomination to you. It'll actually make you sick. So that's why, you did this offering, basically had a big cookout, and the wood and the leftovers and the innards and all that stuff were part of this offering thing. I just love the way that this reads. And just know that Jesus Christ, when his coming, he didn't require any of this. But this is what we strayed away from. And this shows Cain and Abel, and this is an old thing of offering, but if you look at the rocks in that picture right there, they're chiseled. And it says if you raise a tool upon the altar and chisel the stone and make it smooth, you have polluted the stone. And, man, I mean to tell you, in almost every church you walk into, there's a smooth altar. And there's stairs going up to it, and the dude's got his head covered, and it says don't cover your head, so I'm not going to get too far off subject, but We have rewritten the law over and over and over again. I was going to tell you, Moses wrote those first 5 books, and Jesus, or God, I'm sorry, you can call him either or. God, he wrote the 10 Commandments, and it said, "Thou shalt not kill." And Jesus said, "Moses gave you the law, yet you still seek to kill me." And that was because it said, "Thou shalt not kill." And these people, and Moses, he wrote the first 5 books, and in the third book, they wrote about 30 different ways that they can kill you or stone you, and stone you to death for committing different violations. And just know that God, the books that were in the ark, when those people would wake up, the ark was out in front of them, and all the people that opposed them, they woke up dead. And I mean, they were like, "Man, we know you got the God of Abraham in front of you, man, in these books and this ark of this covenant, man, and y'all are just stomping everybody's butt, man. I'm like, y'all killed the rats and the cats and the dogs, man." And I that's how I understand it, and I read it word for word, and I love y'all reading this. And right here it says bread. You know what, man? Bread's a big deal. Bread's a big deal. That was his body. We were just talking about that, and the body in this sacrifice. And my wife, she's a salt freak, so salt right there. Let not lack the salt right there. And let me read this to you, and then make sure there's nothing pinned. I probably missed about 10 things, but I've sort of got my sync off, because I just love when AJ helps me, and I know that he broke his brain today editing the Four Horsemen, because I saw it sink in. Have you ever seen somebody, you teach somebody, and it sinks in all of a sudden? I want to show you. That's my chart. That's art. We're all Leslie. But that's how I print all the scriptures out, so that I can put the seals together, and then I can put the text in the scriptures to see which ones and how they line up. And literally, once you see the sequence of how it lays together, you can't unsee it. And Tambamino, I died. Too bright. It's too bright. That I want to not stay up here. He's an angel. He's an angel. Read the page with Granddaddy. He gonna lay behind my back now? Okay, you can lay right there. I love him to death. Arlo's so cool. All right, here we are, back on the page, and I'm gonna read this. Arlo, he takes up half my chair, and he's 3.5 pounds. Know how he does that. Already. I love it, man. 283 people in here. Love that crowd. And offer these things for a sweet savor acceptable before Yahweh, with its meat offering and its drink offering for a sweet savor, the bread and the offering unto Yahweh. And eat its meat on that day and on the second day. And let not the sun on the second day go down upon it till it is eaten. And let nothing be left over for the third day. For it is not acceptable, for it is not approved. And let it no longer be eaten. For all who eat thereof will bring sin upon themselves. For thus I have found it written in the books of my forefathers, and in the words of Enoch, and in the words of Noah. So we're going there soon. In the words of Noah, I'm going to find out what's been in the Dead Sea Scrolls that has to do with the words of Noah, and we'll be bringing that to you. That's why I underlined it right there. And if I get it told to me in Scripture, and I find it in the Dead Sea Scrolls, you're gonna hear it, and you don't have to eat it. I just want you to hear it. And so I don't ask you to buy all these things. I ask you to listen. It was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I want you to know, at least know. And nowhere in this book has it said anything different than the book of Genesis, and it doesn't tell a different story, and it doesn't say do anything terrible or shake a snake at the sun or any of that stuff. So just know it's basically a lot more information, like in these sacrifices. These next couple of verses tell you exactly what kind of wood to burn and what's favorable and and what wood not to burn. And it makes so much sense. I'm like, man, it'd be hard to light a green piece of wood. And they say, you better, because that's when it smells to heaven, and that's when it's going to go to heaven. And if you let the flavor come out of it, you've ruined it. Right here. As regards to the wood of the sacrifices, beware lest you bring other wood for the altar additional to these: cypress, bay, almond, fir, pine, cedar, savin, fig, olive, myrrh, laurel, and asphaltus. I think I said that right. And these kinds of wood lay upon the altar under the sacrifice, such as have been tested as their appearance, and do not lay thereon any split or dark wood, but hard and clean, without fault, a sound and new growth. And do not lay thereon old wood, for its fragrance is gone, for there is no longer fragrance in it as before. Man, I'm going to tell you something. Every time I walk in somewhere and there's a brilliant fire and you can smell the pine and the logs and all that stuff, it smells different, man. I mean, you're right. The old dry wood is a bonfire, but when you smell that oak and hear it popping and all that stuff, that's cool. Besides all these kinds of wood, there are none other than you shall place on the altar. For the fragrance is dispersed, and the smell of its fragrance goes not up to heaven. Right there. Observe this commandment and do it, my son, that you may be upright in all your deeds, and at all times be clean in your body, and wash yourself with water before you approach the altar, and wash your hands and your feet before you draw near the altar. And when you're done sacrificing, wash again your hands and your feet. They're telling you, hey, you're going to be sacrificing things. You've got blood you want to keep clean. I'm going to tell you right here, it says on the next page, and it's the last page of the study guide, but it tells you how this would, what you're supposed to do with it. Like, I mean, it definitely, they're treating it like, blood, like it should. I mean, it's like you've got blood on your hands, and you need to clean that so that you don't spread anything. And so I'm going to keep reading it to you. I love it. Crackle. Oops. I love. Did y'all trip out on that about the wood, man? Because I was always trained you have to season the wood and all this stuff, and then I was like going, man, you know how hot a fire's got to be to light a green piece of wood, and he's like going, yeah. Yeah, I want you to think about it. So I totally get it, man. I love that stuff, and that whole thing about the different types of wood and all. Those are the things that when you get to print off the Book of Jubilees and stuff like that, you can research those things for yourself, man, and actually go see. I'd love to hear people connect, and y'all can connect with me. If y'all go to my Patreon page and what have you, that is really cool. And I load up a lot of stuff on that. I want you to know real quick that we wear all our trumpet shirts when we're in there. Those are a great support tool for us. I certainly appreciate them. And they are on our Linktree page. So when you go to our Linktree page, the t-shirts are right there. And then all of my work is in here. And these are what we're working on right now. We're in that Jubilee study guide right there. But that Patreon, that right there, that's where all the pictures are. It's really an amazing amount of work that goes into that. But you can see where AJ, he's got the Scrolls document, the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Enoch. All of those are in there. These pictures are cool. These are all these ancient pictures out of the 1839 Bible and those maps, pictures that I've taken right there. But we're going the study guide on the 7 seals document. This is the first seal, and we go seal by seal. And so I do know that he has this seal chart right there, and we're going seal by seal and explaining that. I just want you to know where this is all going, because I linked it all together here in this map, and I don't have this uploaded onto Patreon. That's exactly why his brain hurts, because I've linked all of the seals, the announcements of each trumpet, and the vials, and they all line up with the dates and every 1,000 years. And it's a lot, man. And once you start understanding, we got to those first 4 seals of the 4 horsemen, and when I explained it to him in that podcast, he was asking questions through it. It was a great segment to sit there. See our trumpet shirts on? Mine's just full of belly. And I wear this black shirt so that y'all can see y'all's comments. Or I do wear my trumpet shirt right now. And I can tell you that his questions from being 26 years old are exactly some of the things you would want to hear because, you know, I know the Dead Sea Scrolls. I know all this stuff. And I unfortunately, I would take for granted that somebody may know some of these things. And he was like, hey, why were we made in the image of God? And some of his questions were just like, wow, those are good questions, and you've got to be on your game to answer that because we're talking about going through these seals, and when you read about them, it really self-explanatory every 1,000 years, and the rider with the white horse and the crown and the bow and all that stuff. Just know Revelation 19 is the rider with the white horse and the crown and the bow, and the fifth seal, whenever Christ went underneath the altar and locked away the devil for 1,000 years. That all started the millennial reign. It was just literally an amazing story and easy to put together once I saw it. So I can just tell you that that's what we're working on right now. He'll have that loaded up to Patreon. And that's a $3 a month to be a part of that. And it just has a copy of that. There are also some other things where I'll even call you on some of the better programs and we can just set up a phone call. But the Zoom classes that'll happen with that are just super cool. And I'm excited about it because it's the way I can transfer the information and get it to you. And you can see where we are and when we're in the little season and where we are. And we're talking about these seals by seals, and we went and filmed the first 4 today. So I do know that the podcast on the first 4 is today, and then it just shows how these connect. Like I said, when they blow that 7th trumpet, the trumpet announced the next thing, and each one of them announced this thing, and you can just see the last one, man. That's when it says, hey, the kingdom of heaven is done. It's ours, bro. And that's the second death right there. That's when the devil gets out of his pen. The rest of the dead, they got out right there, man. In 1033, we saw them. I know, it's crazy, man, because in 33 AD, he locked them away for 1,000 years, and it says he must be released for a little season, right there, 1033. And then it says that the rest of the dead yet live again. And I'm like, oh my God, so how many is that? And people go, how many is that? I'm like, I don't know, man. It says the rest of the dead. Yikes. That's a ton right there. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. So it's when 33 AD was the first resurrection, man. That's when Jesus Christ resurrected. And on 33 AD, man, that's when, the ground did rock and the earth did rent and the graves were opened and the bodies of many saints which slept arose. That's Matthew 27, verse 52. And an earthquake in Jerusalem, and the saints walked through the city streets and were seen by many. The rest of the dead, that's who's bothering us now. Actually, you can see it in this little season chart right here. The rest of the dead got out of the ground in 1033, 1,000 years after they were put in there. And this chart is right there on that Patreon page. It's really cool. And that 7 seals document. But there was an earthquake right there in 1033. It says it in the 5th seal. It says it right there. It says, and behold, I opened the 6th seal, and there was a great earthquake, and right there. And in Jerusalem, there's the earthquake. So in the study guides and all this stuff, I paint the seal, go, there was the earthquake, and this dude right here, check this dude out, man. He was the Pope at 12 years old. At 1033, shut the front door, Alice. Right here. 1033 at that Pope Benedict, whatever his little dumb name was. And then he led for 40 and 2 months. And that's a little season. But, also, too, they had traced the royal family back to William the Conqueror. I love this. That right there. I copied this right before we got on there. And, of course, they go through, Daryl is Mama Daryl. And then they go right here to William the Conqueror. And this dude's the devil, man. Robert the Devil. This map is 23 foot, it's 3 foot tall and 23 foot long. It says the devil on it in one place right there. 1033 AD. Bubba lived right there. His name's Robert. Same as that Marvel movie.
Can we do the lesson and answer questions after?
Yes.
Let's do the lesson.
Okay. All right, we got baby over there. We're doing a lesson. Get away from Robert the Devil for a minute. Let me go. Page 3. All I got to do is read this page 3, and then she said that I can just go off the rails right there. But ooh, this is Stephen being stoned, and this is so cool. And AJ, one thing that he does is he cuts all the shenanigans and all of my hey look it's a squirrel and the off talk and answering questions, and he will put this up as an audio book. That's why I read from the top to the bottom without answering questions, and so that he can compress that together for you. And he goes, hey look Dad, man, you talked you had 15 minutes worth of actual things you should have said, and for somehow you were on for 2 hours. And what Bible or version are you using? This is a Dead Sea Scroll translation of the Book of Jubilees, is what we're reading out of. And this is the Dead Sea Scroll translation. You have to make sure you get the right one, because there is a translation from 1913 by R.H. Charles, which is what your computers will default to, and it's incorrect. It is. It's got some errors. I'll read it. Awesome teaching. Thank you so much. Ezekiel 13. I love it, man. You got a cool name. And thank you so much. GGA Pack. She to the lesson. She does, man. She keeps me on. AJ normally, he keeps me in here and kicks me every once in a while. Definitely probably tired of hearing me talk today. And let no blood appear unto you, nor upon your clothes. Be on your guard, my son, against blood. Be on your guard exceedingly. Cover it with dust. And do not eat any blood, for it is the soul, and eat no blood whatever. Okay. And take no gifts for the blood of man, lest it be shed with impurity, without judgment, for it is the blood that sheds that causes the earth to sin. And the earth cannot be cleansed from the blood of a man, save the blood of him who shed it. And take no present or gift for the blood of man, blood for blood, that you may be accepted before the Almighty, the Most High Yahweh, for he is the defense of the good, and that you may be preserved from all evil, and that he may save you from every kind of death. There's that he is your defense. He is the defense, right there. Just know that. That's that. The covenant was in the box. Go set the box out in front of them. Bam. You're going to blow them up. And then, these people just get so out of hand with that. Right there. I see, my son, that all the works of the children of men are sin and wickedness, and all their deeds are unclean, and an abomination and a pollution, and there is no righteousness with them. Beware lest you should walk in their ways, and tread in their paths, and sin a sin unto death before the Most High Yahweh. Else he will hide his face from you, and give you back into your hands of transgression. And the root you out of the land, and your seed likewise, from under heaven, and your name and your seed shall perish from the whole earth. Turn away from all their deeds. Turn away from all their deeds, and all their uncleanliness, and observe the ordinances of the Most High Yahweh, and do all of his will, and be upright in all things. And he will bless you in all your deeds, and will raise you up, and plant you of righteousness throughout all the earth, and throughout all generations of the earth. And my name and your name shall not be forgotten under the heavens forever. Go, my son, in shalom. May the Most High Yahweh and my sovereign ruler and your sovereign ruler strengthen you into his will, and may he bless all of your seed, that the residue of your seed for generations forever, and with all righteousness and blessing, that you may be a blessing on all of the earth. And he went out from him rejoicing. That's because Isaac had just been given everything, and his father blessed him and gave him everything. So that is the end of chapter 21. It took me 1/2 of an hour just to go through that piece of the lesson and answer some questions. And I try to stay pretty close with, reading that. It reads exactly like the Bible does. It tells exactly the same thing, just a little bit more information in the Book of Jubilees, and I love that. Some of its big changes are right there. If y'all got any questions about the Book of Jubilees before we travel down the hey, look, it's a squirrel page, y'all ask me about this Book of Jubilees. If there's any questions about its authenticity, if there's any questions about what we had just read and how God will be handling those things. So do not eat any blood. What does that mean? That means that any living blood, that something should be dead and then the blood poured out onto the altar. They don't want you eating anything that is like live monkey brains or any of that stuff that these people do. Probably shut my TikTok off for that. So just know that when you're eating live things, that's the living blood, and these things should be slaughtered, and then their blood and their fat of their certain quarters and their certain pieces are put on this part of the fire, and the other part of it is almost mingled with oil. And this is the old school, and Jesus, when he came, he released us from all these old rituals and practices. You never saw them slaughtering any cows or any of that stuff, and he was the sacrifice for us. So know that we don't have to do all these things. I just think it's cool that you know where we came from and what we did wrong. So that's what, you still, out of all the things that you should eat, not eat something that's living. And that's just bad. And when eating meats, they should be well done. I don't know about what temperature. I know that it should not be alive. You shouldn't just take a bite out of a cow and or deer or any of that stuff, man. You should slaughter it and cultivate it correctly. And it's one thing that sort of twists about this is it says that cook it over this fire of the certain wood so that gives it its flavor. And I think that's cool because the fire gives it its flavor, and that wood is green and it gives it its flavor and texture. So, I think that some of those meats, when they're harvested like that, taste a little gamey. I can imagine just putting a, pine soil taste on it, probably, completely weird that out. Would you recommend the Geneva Bible? If you want to read How Art Thou, Romeo, O Romeoeth, Julieteth, and How Art Thou? Yeah. This is Dead Sea Scrolls translation, and it has some blesseth in there. It's just some stretching on the words. I like some of the words. They did take the word governors. We battle not against governors, so they took that one word out, and everybody goes, man, I can't trust nothing. And it literally sort of says the same thing, but it did take that one word out, and the Geneva Bible has that in there. We battle not against politicians, whatever it says. But it is the governor. That's because the rest of the dead, they live again. But ask me anything about the Jubilees thing. We went through some of these pages right here with the sacrifices, and it was not eat any blood is what we just got asked. And that was right here in here. So let's see. What about raw fish and seafood and all that stuff? If you're not supposed to eat living things. So if you've caught a fish and it's dead and you cut it up and you eat a piece of raw fish, it's dead. But it also says that it gives a list of fish that you're supposed to eat, and it's supposed to have scales on it and what have you, and you're not supposed to eat crustaceans and stuff. And believe me, I am not so sure as to if we're still bound by those. Do you have Bible listed? Do you have your Bible listed in the link tree? I do. My Bible and all of my stuff is in my Patreon page, and all the things that I sell are in there. And but I recommend you can go to my link tree and go to my see the what's it called? Amazon. The Amazon links, and it tells you all my Bibles right there. What does your understand putting the death decree from Revelation 13:15 together with Matthew 24:22? All right, hang on. Keep that pinned up there, Gigi. I got a Bible. I got to go. Let me get my, y'all asked me what Bible. So this is going to be my go-to Bible right here. This is on my Amazon page. This is the Thompson Chain Reference Bible. This one was sort of expensive. It's really cool, and I use it because it's big and it's got big print. This is as big as a piece of paper. So you just see it's the same size as a sheet of notebook paper. And so I'm old. But you got to understand, when you're reading something, you're going to put it up, pin that comment back again. 13:15. Was it? Revelation 13:15. I'm going to it. I promise you. Y'all do it. Y'all come back up and tell me what it was. Revelation 13:15, I thought. And he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast. And that image of the beast should both speak and cause that many would not worship the image of the beast and should it be killed. Ooh. I love it, man. I think that is all. That's when it talks about the first beast. The beast with 7 heads is right there. But it talks about the 40 and 2 months right there. And did y'all get it pinned back? Revelation 13:15. I told you, I remember. Together with Matthew 24:22. I like this. A 2-part question. That means I'm going to get my string. Are y'all with me here? I'm going to do this. Ooh, that's Matthew. I'm already on Matthew, man. Matthew, touch the button one more time. 24:22. Bro, I was on that. I was already on that. Oh, me and you think I'm just alike. 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, that those should no flesh be saved, but those of the elect sake until those days be shortened. And it goes down to that immediately after the tribulation of those days. You know what I think that piece was? When they crucified the million people in Jerusalem. And in 70 AD, when Titus sacked Jerusalem, they crucified 1.1 million men outside of Jerusalem, and they erected crosses to crucify them. And I think that they starved them out, and when there was nothing to eat for food, I've read in the Jewish Talmud, there's some terrible things about that. And how that piece right there, their days will be shortened of the elect. I feel like that the people that were in Jerusalem that were actually good, I think that their days were shortened. But then it goes down 4 more verses and says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. And that's when it starts talking about this final revelation. Now, I think this was 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and to the image of the beast should both speak and cause that many would not worship his image. And is that talking about is that one of the false prophets right there? Yeah, we talked about the 2 witnesses as well, too. And here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Anytime it says score, it means times 20. So just know that times 20 that means 666. A 3 score is times 20 is 60. So 666. But what it's talking about there is it said he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should not both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark upon their head and in their forehead. Now, I can tell you that one of the most memorable receipts of a mark on their forehead was Goliath, man. You remember he got a tattoo mark, and right there, they put his head on Golgotha, which is sort of Golgotha. It's almost like where the place of the skull. And it says right after he beheaded him, hey, Greg, can you tell Greg the Dead Sea Scrolls are in California at the, Big Daddy, at the Ronald Reagan? You know what? There are pieces of them. There were millions of pieces of them. And we went to the Bible Museum, and I was sort of shocked because they had like an exhibition with, it looked like, I'm having a bad hair day. It looked like thousands of fragments, but actually only a fraction of them were real. So I would love to go see them. I would totally avoid going to California right now. I think so. That was a Napoleon Dynamite. You see that? Fonda saw me dancing. Right, right. Y'all ask me a question because I love that. That has some scriptures with it too, man. And I'll look that up. But a lot of the things I get, I'll pull them out of those old Bibles too, man. That old Catholic Bible right there, man. You start reading about the abomination of desolation, and it's right there in First Maccabees, man. It says that they put swine's flesh. How about the mark that God put on Cain? I don't know. That's funny. A lot of people go, Adam and Eve were the first people. Okay, well, if Adam and Eve were the first people and Cain killed Abel, then one, he had to probably leave town with his mama or, whatever. But he said, hey, if I go outside of here, they are going to kill me. And it's like, who are they? Oh, okay. Well, those are all the mankind that existed outside that perfect garden. That's who Cain was scared was going to kill him. So he said, "Put a mark upon me, lest they kill me, lest they kill me." I tell you what tripped me out is finding out that Noah was the only one with a boat. Man, you know what? I was stupid enough to think that he was the first dude to ever build a boat. And like nobody had a boat. There was a bunch of boats, man. There was a bunch of seas, a bunch of stuff. And that sort of freaked me out because one of the only instances when all of the people were killed by water and by the sea, which is in that third trumpeter, I think, right there. Yeah. No, and the mountain went into the sea. The only time mountains go into the sea is when the flood went over them. And it went over them by so many cubits. And it says, that's what freaked me out. And it says that a third of the boats were destroyed. And I was like going, well, Noah had the only boat. And I was like, that's sort of stupid. He didn't have the only boat. He probably the only dude that built a boat inland that was super huge. And everybody was like going, you're an idiot, man. You built a boat inland in the water over there, Papa. And we know the giants and all the things that he was trying to get off of the earth, all the bad things. So I can only imagine that that's the beginning of the Phoenicians or the sea peoples, and the things that would have been in the water. Somehow they survived the flood. The Nephilim, the giants, they were all in Canaan when Moses sent the spies after the flood. Can you explain what you mean by Adam and Eve not being the first humans? In one of the oldest translations of the Bible, it says that God created mankind and he created man and woman. He created them both. And that's in chapter 1. And then right after it says mankind, 12 sentences later, it says God created man out of the dirt of the earth, and then he blew breath into him. So he formed him with his hands, man. But he spoke mankind into existence, and literally just spoke him into existence with all the other things of the world. And that he created, he spoke them into existence. Have you been to see the Ark Museum? I sure have. That's what that Ark thing is right there. Look at little tag Ark. That's where I got that from. That's so cool. I can't wait till AJ opens those pictures. But he had said that mankind, was in the first chapter, and when he spoke that about the mankind, and then he created them both, he spoke them into existence. And then in chapter 2, he forms man from the dirt of the earth, and Adam means red because it says clay, and in one of the older books of the Bible. But it goes from mankind in chapter 1 to man. And I've got it in one of these old Bibles. Dude. It's going to be one of those side-by-side Bibles. I'm not going to. Hey, but anyway, that's one of the first things that it says. And you were saying that's who Cain would have been scared of, because he created man, and then he created all the animals in the garden and brought them to man to be named. And then he created the woman, and he named the woman Eve. So it's not he created them both and put them in the first chapter. And I believe that he created the Garden of Eden as perfect little thing because of all the weirdness that was happening in the earth. And he made a perfect garden. And somehow some of that evil snuck its way into the garden and violated the mankind. So what were the other kinds before man? It just says mankind, and all of the that monkeys and apes and all that stuff, they have 13 ribs. It's funny, and we have 12. And whenever they found some of these cavemen, I was sitting there counting the ribs and all that stuff. I'm like going, man, that's a monkey, man. You found that boys are 13 ribs. That's before they grabbed homeboy's rib, and they were saying we descended from apes. Yeah, well, they had 13 ribs, and we had 12. So just know that the fact that we're missing one makes us different from them. So what are the other kinds before man? So Jody, that's what I think was, mankind, and that's what then God created Adam out of the dirt of the earth and literally blew life into his nostrils. And I remember doing that tick, and it just literally just blew up. And I'm like going, man, I mean, that's like, where did the giants come from that Moses saw? I mean, not Moses, he sent out the spies, and they said, dude, we like grasshoppers. Compared to those dudes. And we know that the Egyptians and all those buildings that were built, man, you had to be a giant, man. There's no crane big enough to go pick that thing up. It's as big as a bus. It weighs 50 tons, and you're talking about being in a cat litter box? No way, man. So we are living souls. You are a living soul. I guarantee you that, man. And that's what gives you, that's what makes you, that's why they envy you. That's why immortal beings envy you, because they are here forever, and they desired to have a mortality, and they wanted to touch and breathe and eat and taste all of these great things and enjoy this life. And unfortunately, part of that would be that they would die, and they didn't really have that all figured out. So the mortality rate of immortality, they wanted to be attached to time, and they never were attached to time. They would, whatever they did lasted forever, and they could be anywhere at any time. And when you say that, time gives you existence. I just know that when I run my finger across the screen like that right there, my hands, if it was a race car and it was going by, you would be able to see it if it was going 100 miles an hour. But if it was going 500 miles an hour, you wouldn't even see it, man. You'd just see where it was. And that doesn't mean it's not there. It's just we're in the time where we can't see that, and because of it's going too fast. So just imagine what an immortal being that has no connection to time can be here or can be there, and literally at any time. So, which is the son of Noah that decoded the hieroglyphs in Jubilee? It tells you that Noah. This is my chart down here. I told you to go call. This is we read in the Book of Jubilees. Where it was, I want to show you these rocks that they found, and it tells you right there. Can you see those? Can you see that? That's right there. I'll read it to you. Methuselah, Noah, and Shem, the year before the flood, inscribe on 2 pillars the history and discoveries of the world, which stood in Moses' time for 777 years after. And I mean, look at how tall these things are, man. You know what? They were giants, or they were tall. They had to be 15 foot tall. When was the last time you ever got on a boat and you said, man, look at the headroom, dude? I'm 6'3", and I guarantee you I'm doing this to walk into one of those things, just like an RV. And the ark was 45 feet tall and 3 floors. That means each floor was 15 foot tall. No way did they make each floor for the giraffe boys or any of that stuff. So just know the dudes walking up and down the hall were 700 and 800 years old. Let's see how old his kids were. Noah, Shem, Ham. Yeah, 600 on Shem. So these dudes are 15 foot tall, 600 and 700 years old. They got a boat at 3 stories tall. It's 45 feet, so it's 15 foot between each one of the floors. So you've got a 700-year-old dude that's 15 foot tall. big old ark, and they escaped away from the land of giants, and all the stuff that was in the ocean survived. The Bible made clearly after the second coming of Jesus would not continue to exist life on earth. The Bible made clearly that after the second coming of Jesus will not continue. That's right. It says, I got that verse for you exactly. That's what people say. We're caught up. You better be caught up to Him to get judged, because the first earth and the first earth is passed away, and there is no more sea. Let's see. I got a scripture for you. We'll push these ones, and I saw the angel. Oh, that's like some way. That's where the first resurrection. Yeah. And with the, you know what? I don't know if I copied that. I didn't copy it. Yeah, well. I know I got it right up here. I thank y'all for bearing with me. You know how I am. There's thousands of pictures on here, and I would have copied it from the tick that I did last night. And it would have been in the Book of Revelation. I copied 3 of them. Oh, I hate it when I can't find that. I did copy this, though. I thought this was cool. This old Bible that I have, y'all are going to love this, man. Look at this thing right here. This is Genesis, old school Genesis. What was the fruit eat? Right? I don't know. They say an apple, but I don't know. Says, do not eat the fruit of that tree. And I don't know. They, for whatever reason, they troubled her childbirth. And Jubilees read very clearly that those are Adam's children. But I do believe that the women that associated themselves with demons and the fallen angels, I believe that part of their punishment was, you know, now that you've opened your eyes and you see, now you're going to suffer all these pains of the world. So I feel like that was why it was ultimately judged for her in that. But I don't think they were eating apples. I think it was a metaphorical thing. But this is really cool. This right here. When it says it's, this is where it says, instead of saying firmament in this old Hebrew Bible, remember now, this Bible reads, where we're reading from right here, this is it written in Hebrew. And that's my fingers. So this thing is about that big. It's little bitty. But it says very clearly that his face was over the murmuring deep, and that he put the expanse in the midst of the waters. We were talking about the waters, and with the waters in the Revelation 21, and there was no more sea, and the waters where the horse sitteth were peoples and nations and tongues. Trust me, man, the water's got nothing good in it. Noah didn't pull nothing out of the water. And the sirens that live in the sea, those were the women that defiled themselves with the angels. And the, what is that big thing that lives in the sea, the big snake? What's that? You mentioned in the Bible, man, not the Kraken. I want to say the Kraken, Leviathan. Y'all know. I so thank y'all so much. That's all in the ocean, man. I mean, you didn't see, and take Leviathan 7 by 7. And that's one thing that sort of makes me mad about how the Bible reads, man, is it says, it reads perfectly. I was taught that the animals come out 2 by 2. And you can see that's where it says for firmament right there. That the animals came out 2 by 2. Those were the bad guys, man. Those were the sinful animals that were to be slaughtered and bad. The good animals were 7 by 7. You know that. 7 by 7. I didn't know that, man. I see every ark got 2 animals going up on it. Those were the sinful beasts. It says it right there in Genesis. And I just hate the fact that that's how I learned it. That's what I learned. And I'm going to teach my grandkids the different. Never read the Jubilees. Where can I find it? I love the fact that you just asked me that. Watch this. You can support me and help me because look at this. We got 6 million likes in the last 30 days on this Book of Jubilees right here. I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of people that got into here, and I really appreciate every one of the gifts and everything that y'all do and how many times y'all have tapped that like button. But we got 6 million likes in the last 30 days just talking about the Book of Jubilee study courses right here. So just know, Nicole, I certainly appreciate that. Let me tell you where you can go get the Book of Jubilees. That's one thing that my son, he wanted to point out. He goes, man, you got to realize that you put a study guide out with everything. So, like, this is the study guide we were reading for Enoch, and you can go to my link tree right there and click on my link, go to my bio page right there where it says the trumpet, and then click on that link tree when it comes up, and then this page will pop up, and we're reading Jubilees 21, but my Patreon page is where all the videos, my audio books, all of my work, you'll just trip out when you get there, man. I mean, there is, it goes there. There's the Patreon page. You'll see it when it comes up. There's links to all my shirts. There's the new podcast that we're coming out with. I really just sitting there talking through this whole thing. All of the pictures that I use in my work of the firmament, those that go with the Book of Enoch right there. I'm going to have AJ, he'll load these all in. That's that book, the 5 books of Moses, with the murmuring deep and all these. He'll have those loaded up. These are the study guides that you see. These are all on my Patreon page. It's $3 a month, man. That's cheaper than the other things. They'll probably shut me down for saying something like that. But these charts right here are going to be in there, and we're going through the first 4 seals. We did the podcast for them today, and it's only going to be for those people in that. And it's really where you're going to be able to download. You said, where can I get the Book of Jubilees? Right there. That's my Patreon page. It is. Go to my bio page, click on my link tree, and that's the Patreon page. That pops up. It's $3 to be a member of that. And I'm telling you what, all of my pictures and all of my stuff is right there. And it's the best way. All of my books, the printable Bibles and all that stuff. And there's some other levels that you can join. And I literally will set up a phone call with you and call you, and we'll sit there and talk. And it gets a tighter connection and a tighter connection. And AJ, that's why his brain hurts today, because we literally did all of the filming for the podcast. He's already loaded all these pictures up. That's my Patreon page, and that's right there. On there's my T-shirts and the trumpet tees. Brian Morse, he's on here. I love him to death, and the T-shirts are just a super cool thing. I wear them in all of our work. I wear them all the time. Me and AJ both wearing them. We're both trumpets. And I tell you what, I was out, and a guy spotted me at a Wawa, man. He goes, "You're the trumpet." And I was like going, well, it does say that right across my chest. But I totally get me having the dog on my shoulder, because our logo's with me everywhere that I go. And so I love the fact, you have the book of it. I do. I had the Dead Sea Scrolls version of it right there. And it is the Book of Jubilees. And is it right there? Book of Enoch? The Acts of Pilate. The Book of Enoch, yeah, there it is right there. Sorry, I'm in front of it. These are all the Dead Sea Scrolls versions of those. And that Acts of Pilate, bro, that is, man, you want to read about the 2 witnesses, about the descent into hell and all that stuff. That's New Testament Apocrypha, and those study guides are just off the chain. This one about the 7 seals, that's what me and AJ just did. It's got, that study guide has each seal, and you can just go page by page, seal by seal, and it gives you all the scripture, the backup scripture to go with it. And then me and him just sat there and went through the first 4 horsemen, and just basically right through here, the first seal, the white horse, the one with the crown and the bow that said, "Go over and take dominion over the earth." That's it. The second seal, the red horse of war, and the one that created the swords and taught men how to make war and to take peace from the earth. It's right there. It all lays out 1,000 years. After 1,000 years, man was created. Adam was created right there. 1,000 years later is when the Watchers came and Enoch was taken up. And this 1,000 years later is when Abraham was born in the famine. and had the great famine of Egypt and all that stuff. So it's so cool. Thank you so much, Gigi. I am getting ready to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and y'all coming in here and all of the gifts. I certainly appreciate it. We couldn't even work the buttons, and it's a family thing now. And like I said, I was very proud of my son to have worked all day and just editing those things. And I know that when this unfolded into his head, thank you so much, Space Time, that it probably made his brain hurt because I've done that a bunch, and I've worked real hard on some things, and it made my head hurt. And he connected the first 4 seals, and what happens when you edit that together? Guy, you watch it over and over, and then you have to get the words right. You have to say it, and you have to. So it's being drilled into his head, man. And I remember editing Jill's brother stuff when we were a member of their church, and I could just hear his voice over and over, and trying to get where he messed up and chop that out and play it over, and it caused me to listen to it so many times. And Nicole, I want you to know, thank you so much, Jen, for the gifts, and Nicole, I appreciate that. But my son, he's y'all's age, and now he's really listening to these things over and over again. And I'm like going, man, that is the Word of God. And what you're seeing is these broken seals. And when I pointed out those first 4 and I showed him all the evidence behind it, he was just like, yeah, I was like going, yeah, bro, we're right here, 8 years away. And none of these things, this is the season, man. This can happen anytime. Just know that, man. And I want y'all to be safe. There was one other thing that I wanted to point out, and I said it earlier today, and I want to leave y'all with this note. On Friday, we'll send out our mailer to all the people that are in our link tree. Just go leave your email in that link tree, and that's all that it takes for that right there. And you know what? I've been following. Thank you so much. My Facebook, we just had to redo. I lost 148,000 subscribers on Facebook because of information, the way they got hold of my information. And I lost a lot of heart in that one. And it was cool because I could put pictures and all that stuff. And when I lost it, it all went whap. And I have my website and I have my Patreon page now. And I don't want you to ever lose this work. But the story that I want to leave y'all with is, you know, people say, I wish I knew the Bible like you, and I wish I knew Scripture like you. And I'm like going, hey, listen, that's not what we're going to be fighting with, you know. And you see all these people that have these guns and these weapons, and they're all braced for war. And I'm like, remember that a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old are going to have to be able to sling the sword. That they're going to be the one that they have to fight. They have to defend themselves. And when Jesus Christ said, they asked, he doesn't have a Facebook. I can't stand it, to tell you the truth. When Jesus Christ said, they was asked by their lawyers, the attorney, was asked by the lawyers, he said, they said, what is the great commandment? What is the great law? And he said that you should love your Father in heaven above with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And the second commandment is like unto it, that you should love your neighbor as yourself. And upon those 2 commandments hang all the law and all the prophets. Now, a 4-year-old can grab a sword and it says that you should love your neighbor, Father in heaven above with all your heart and all your soul. And the other edge of the blade of love of that sword says you should love your neighbor as yourself. And just know that my 4-year-old can sling that blade. And I just want you to know that my and your 4-year-old, we can teach them to love God and love their neighbor as theirself. And our children can sling that blade. That's what's important to teach. Not, hey, I need you to learn this whole Bible. Man, my kids, my 4-year-old won't be able to learn this Bible. She won't be able to know that, hey, you're quoting Scripture and you da-da-da-da. Man, I boiled it all the way down to God. Jesus said these 2 rules, and they're nothing but love, man. And if you do those 2 rules, you won't want to covet your neighbor's wife. You won't want to steal. You won't want to murder. You'll honor the Sabbath, and you'll respect God. And it all works out, and it's all nothing but love. And we just read in the chapter 21 of the Book of Jubilees that he will be your defender and that he will take out your enemies. So just know that that's what the Book of Jubilees is preaching to you. I hope that y'all do support me. I do need the help, and because now that I'm onto this, I can't do anything but that. And like I said, it's $3 a month to join my Patreon page, and all of my work is right there. And these mailers come out every week. You know, I put this literature up here, these things like these Pentecostal preachers that are going to, you know, chop down the demon with, you know, his quoting the Bible and these, hey, Hebrews 4 and Daniel 17. Remember, that kid's got to sling that sword. That little girl right there. And she's going to have to sling that sword. That can't be anything done but with love. And that's the most workingest muscle in your entire body is love, is your heart. It works nonstop. It always watches over you, and it'll always watch over our children if they just know how to use that blade. It's so sharp, buddy. And we got to teach our... thank you so much, Nicole, for being a subscriber. Those are all the stickers and those pictures and those maps that I show in there. That's what we have to teach our children, is to love with their heart. It always beats. They can sling that sword of love, and it will defeat those things. They just got to be brave enough and be taught to sling that. They don't have to be taught this, man. My granddaughter's not going to be able to sling this. She needs to know that Jesus Christ boiled it down to 2 things. He said, love God, love thy neighbor as thyself. Upon that hang all the law and all the prophets. And it's just, that's what I've got to teach my grandkids, how to fight with a sword of love. And that's going to chop them down. But you can go have all the machine guns you want to and all that stuff. My grandkid can't shoot one of those things. And my grandkid can't drive a tank, don't know how to drive a jet. She can't shoot a 50 caliber, and she can't know all of this stuff right here. That's why Jesus Christ said there's just 2 laws. And all the law and all the prophet hang on them is love God and love your neighbors yourself. And if you do those, man, you won't break any of the other 10 commandments. And God will be your defender. He has been, man. And we just decided that we were going to write books and other laws that allowed. How did you find your teaching on the seals? That came to me. I want you to know that came to me in the middle of the night. And I got up, and you can ask Gigi. And I went and I started writing this stuff down and started posting it onto this big post-it board thing. It's like 3 foot tall. I started putting the seals, and I started putting it together, and I went into this hole, man. And I did this work right here. I did this on my phone. Bro. I mean, I was zoomed into artwork, twisting these things, putting a 1 in between there and spacing it out. And it hit me the 1,000 years, every 1,000 years, and the seals started to hit. And I mean, they're just dead on it. And then when I did that, I said, you know, here's the trumpets playing and the bowls. And then I printed them all out. And they're one right after another. So it's not like it was a smorgasbord. You laid them all out. So I printed them all out, and I put them in sequence. And you can see when I did that, they lined up to this. I got it. Bear with me. These ones. And the seals, then the trumpets that announce each one of those things, and then the bowls of wrath that happen in those 1,000-year period. The trumpets that announce each one of those things, and then the bowls of wrath that happen in those 1,000-year period. And he opened the 6th seal, and there was a great earthquake. And in 1033, there was the great earthquake. And that is exactly 1,000 years after the first resurrection. And it says, and the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Okay. So Jesus Christ resurrected in 33 AD. He locked the devil away for 1,000 years, and it's right there. It's the first resurrection. So the rest of the dead are the knuckleheads that are running around in the world right now that make us think the devil surely must be in his little season. No, man. There are, I don't know what the number is. I don't know how many the rest of the dead is. Use your imagination. But they would have in 1033 with that big earthquake and all that stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that happened in 1033. Like this dude was 12 years old, just like Jesus was 12 in the temple. This was the Pope, 12 years old, when the 1000th anniversary of Christ's resurrection, right there, this was his reign, and he reigned for 3.5 years, man. That's how long Jesus Christ was on the earth after John was beheaded, 3.5 years. So just know that's a little season. And you sort of ask where I got this from. When you start putting the millennial reign and that they reigned with him for 1,000 years and all of this, that the people that are affected by the first resurrection are not affected by the second death. He moves from one to another. I do. You want me to move my head out the way so y'all can take pictures of them? You will probably never be able to read that one. But it will be loaded up onto my Patreon page tomorrow. And AJ, he's brain dead. This one is on there now. And these are the seals. And I think it's important that you understand the seals first. And then just know, like, let me do this. This is how it sort of starts coming together. Then I start making all the notes and drawing the trumpets. And then these drawings start piecing themselves together. So you can see how it's just like a work in progress to put this together. And you say, it came to me, and I know his brain, he put it together today, and I laid the 4 seals out, the 4 horsemen out in front of him. And when it explained that it was the watchers and the white horse was Christ and the thunders from heaven, and that was when the heavens up, it's mentally exhausting, man. It just make you go, gosh, you've hit it. That's what I've got to teach. So, just know that we appreciate all the support. My whole family's in on this now. Gigi, she's moderating and helps me moderate through this stuff. We've got some podcasts that we're doing with other people that are big time. Next week, I can't wait to meet with them. And we're bringing all this to you because this is what we're going to do. Me and him have just gone over this. You can just see it's a great perspective. He's 26 years old, and his questions were very fresh and original and not scripted. And for me and him to sit there and talk just blew me away. And when he finally started seeing the bow and the rider on the white horse and the one with the crown and the watchers that made the swords, and they were sent to take peace from the earth, when he started piecing them together, the rest of them fell right into suit. And you can just sort of see him pace right up the hill. And we did in that study guide. We've got them 1 seal at a time, and it's right there on my study guides that are on my Patreon page. So I appreciate y'all's support. It's only $3 into that. And then when you go up to the different levels from the $3 level, it includes like phone calls and things like that, group chats and stuff, and private work groups that I really do appreciate. One of the things y'all had talked about some of my books to print, I actually want to do some classes where we make these books and print them out together and glue them together and put some binders on them and some of the scrolls that I make. I think you'll find it very interesting and very easy. And what's crazy, why does every moment events happen like that? I don't understand why. Let me see. Olympics, etc., depict Satanism. Man, I tell you what, everything that I see now depicts Satanism. He's so far out in the world right now, man. He is he's just out there with everything that he does. And you start seeing 40 in 2 months or 42 engines on the rocket that needs to go up from 33 engines. And I'm sitting there going, man, you're pulling these numbers out of your butt, or you're talking about God, Jesus was the first one to ascend into heaven at 33, and then you're going to tell me that's how many motors you have on the Dragon to go into space? But you're going to need 42 engines, which ironically is the same numbers of letters that the Kabbalists think is in the name of God. And I'm like going, so you jump from 33 to 42 just on what does the Bible say about flat earth? The Bible doesn't say anything other than the pillars and the firmament and stuff like that. And there's a dome. And you're not going outside of that. And all the people that think that they didn't. But when you read the book of Enoch, it's hard to describe what the shape of the earth was. And the book of Job, you know, God sort of playing with him. He was like going, well, you back up and look at it. And you see the columns. You see how I make the wind blow and hold the seas back. And do you see how the stars run their course? And what did he? And it just makes him look like, And it's almost like, you know, saying, do you know how to build a blade of grass? Or do you know what's inside of an acorn and all this stuff? But when you read the book of Enoch, and he tells you that he descended into the earth and that there's mountains that pierce into the heavens and these waters and rivers and all that stuff, it makes you understand that you can't describe the shape of that realm that we live in. And it doesn't say corners, it says quarters. In Revelation 20, so it says quarters. And a lot of people, I've been asked that one before. Believe me, I've been asked all these things before. And people hit one little thing and they go, hey, man, it says 4 quarters. And right, I'll read it for you. And he shall go out and assemble them in the 4 quarters of the earth. And Satan will be left. And he would go out and see the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth. Verse 8. 20. Verse 8. Oh, you can't see that. Quarters. I'm going to hold my finger right underneath it. Quarters. Not corners. And it's round no matter what y'all think it is. So it's like it's either a round ball or it's a round pancake or whatever you think it is. But honestly, hello, Trumpet from New Zealand and Wellington. Tell me that you see the Southern Cross down there. Do you see it? Because a lot of times when you see these different celestial bodies and you can't see like the North Star and you can see the Southern Cross, it just lets you know that I think we live in a realm that it's the shape of an expanse. It tells you this right here. Let me show you this old Bible. This is some of the oldest wording I've ever seen in a Bible. This is one of the oldest Bibles that I own. Right here, this is the 5 books of Moses, and this is an old Torah book. But it says, and I'm going to show you how. It says that in Genesis, there's the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all that stuff. And the Hebrew goes that way, and the English goes this way. So just know it has both. And it says that his face was over the murmuring deep, and that he divided those knuckleheads from the heavenly that were above from the waters that were below. And just know that's the murmuring abyss, and it discusses that in the book of Enoch. We talked about the abyss and what was outside of the firmament, and where those that were like, I'll show you. I still got it on a lesson from yesterday. We were discussing the firmament, going through it in Enoch 6, and let me leave that picture on the screen for you. So proud of myself for not using glasses, and I believe that's the study guide for it right there. Right there, man. And it's the heavenly dome, and it talks about the winds and the pillars, and that's going to be on one of my the study guide from last night, Enoch chapter 6, right there, talks about that. That was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, man, so that's like totally legit. And I saw several videos on TikTok showing clear with a face over the moon. You can see I love. There's the moon's got a face. There's Ezekiel's wheel right there. There's the tree in the middle of the garden, and this dude's like going through, going He's got his hands up, like, what's up, what's up? And that Book of Enoch last night, that was a trip, man. That was he goes and talks to these dudes right here. Yeah, look. Let me read that first word to you. What I got. Y'all can read that. It's behind the sign. And the angels, the heavenly messengers of the Most High, came and took me, Enoch, and brought me to a mysterious and awesome place. There, those who dwelt were like flaming fire, radiant and fierce in glory. But when they so desired, they appeared as men, manifesting in human form. So just know that was Enoch. That was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And in 3 different Bibles, they call the firmament something different. I know, they call it an expanse in that one. And that's what the Oxford Dictionary used to define the word firmament as. It said expanse. And it just means that, well, I mean, if you think about it, let's look right back here. I'm going to look. You can sort of see it says, there, I got closer. When you put something in between something else and it makes something go above it and below it, you make it expand. So, it would have water above it as a dome, right? So if he's made the expanse from the waters above and the waters below, it has a firmament and a dome, but it also has the waters below. And I'm not saying, hey, you fall off the edge of the earth or whatever. I don't know. I mean, nobody's backed up and looked at it, but I can assure you those dudes that said they went to the moon, they didn't go. The Geneva Bible in 1599 says corners. Okay, hot dog. You asked for it. Bro. Okay. You ordered this. Shut it up. You asked. You said it. You started this, not me. Know that. What's this one? Here we go. From Wycliffe, transferred from the Vulgar Latin in 1380. I'm just going to call this one whatever you want to call it, bro. 1380, right there. It is what it is. Heads or tails? Heads or tails? The Apocalypse. I love this, man. It's called the Apocalypse. It's not even called Revelation. It's called, oh my gosh. Chapter 20. 1380. 1300 something. Chapter 20. And shall go out and deceive on the 4 corners of the earth. That be in the 4 corners of the earth. And it has an N in it right there. There you go. All right, corners. So now you know that the earth is a square. So we live on one of those square pizzas. I just think it's a shame that somebody needs to know what the shape of this earth is, and they think that's going to get you 1 minute in heaven, in the kingdom of heaven, man. I just can't believe that I waste my time even thinking about, that's like trying to number the people. That's what David did wrong, man. I mean, you think that you're cool enough to know how this whole thing works, like how the winds blow and how the seas move and how the stars move and how the sun moves and how an acorn turns into 1,000 trees and makes thousands of acorns? And you're going to figure all that out? You're going to tell me how a piece of grass breathes what we breathe out and how it exhales what we breathe in? And you've got all that pegged. You know the people that know how to make that? You know the people that know what that yellow crap is in the middle of an acorn that's going to make another oak tree? That literally just set it on the ground and put some water on top of it and just hope that it works? No, man, that's a miracle. This is creation. It's not hey, I know how that works. You don't know how this works. You don't know what this kingdom, this realm is shaped like. I guarantee you. You don't know what this thing is shaped like. You've never backed up and looked at it. Go read the book of Job, and God makes him sound like a standing ape for going, have you ever backed up? Do you know where the gates of the ocean are? Do you know where the orifices that make the seas roll? Do you know where the stars move and how to keep the winds that hold up heaven's work? Do you know the winds that keep up the firmament? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know what shape this earth is. You don't. You can say that, and I got both sides of the argument. And this is so much bigger than you. And knowing what the shape of the stupid earth is, gosh, who cares? Who cares? It's not what round, flat, square. It's a realm, man. He is the King of Kings, and a king owns a realm. And now you tell me what shape it is. And you tell me how much time in the kingdom of heaven that's going to get you. Nicole, you hit that right on the thing. You do know that God, what? I'll wait for him to pin comments because I surely don't care. I surely don't care either, man. I honestly, when people say that and they build their whole TikTok account on it and they're like, I wonder what happens when they finally know the answer to that and go, okay, next. But I mean, make that part of a video, please. I literally, I try not to even say that because of just the hecklers that come on and go, it is this, it is this. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know. You don't know. You trust NASA? Means deceive. And then people go, no, it doesn't. It means NASA, and it means, shut up, man. If you don't think NASA don't mean deceive, I guarantee you that rocket never made it to that moon up there. That little, them hanging by a wire. And by the way, they left a cameraman literally on the moon that shot them ascending off. And he immediately, with some kind of technology, sent a picture and a phone call to the president. And they're like, hey, man, we left Billy down there with the camera and all that stuff so we could get that going away shot. Did he radio that to you? I'm sorry, we don't got that. We don't got that. Yeah, so that's what the moon is, plasma. You don't know that either. But I tell you what, if you shine a light at a rock, it doesn't glow. I've never seen that. And the stars and the moons, it says that those people that keep time and follow the moon by the lesser light, they will err in their ways. We read that in Jubilees, I think chapter 7. So I do believe it says that the stars are the heavenly stars. And it refers to them all the time in the Bible about the heavenly stars. So there are so many who need salvation. Who cares about the shape of the earth? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There is exactly what I was preaching about. People trying to save the name of the earth. They're trying to do this, and I boiled it all the way down to what we have to do. I sent out a newsletter that said, I have to teach a 4-year-old how to fight the devil. And Jesus Christ said that that all the laws are contained within these 2 commandments. That you should love your Father in heaven above with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. You should love your neighbor as yourself. And upon those 2 commandments hang all the law and all the prophets. And know that if you fight somebody with a sword that says you should love your Father in heaven above with all your heart, and on this side of the blade it says love your neighbor as yourself, then my 4-year-old granddaughter can grab that sword and can fight with that because her heart is what will love, and your heart, no matter how old you are, is the hardest working muscle that never sleeps in your body. It'll always watch her. And I need her to know how to work her heart. I need her to know how to fight a demon with her heart. And that's what I'm here to teach y'all, is how to teach somebody how to fight this demon, because you're not going to shoot it. It's already dead. You're not going to quote scripture to it, because the devil, I assure you, knows the Bible better than you. He'd been on this earth long enough that he would know the Bible the best. And just know that we have to teach our kids. We have to teach me and you. We have to know that the little 16-year-old girls and the 18-year-old guys and all these people, you don't need to know jujitsu with a Bible, and you don't need to know how to sling verses like some prophet. You need to know that Jesus Christ said, love God and love your neighbor as yourself, man. So that's all we've got to teach our kids, is how to fight with their heart. And when we can teach our children ourselves, when we can teach ourselves how to fight with our heart, that's all we've got, man. That's a weapon that everybody's got. And everybody can love, everybody can fight, and everybody knows the moves. It's love thy neighbor and love God with all your heart, man. Boom. You go up and you love and show love to this thing that's coming to destroy the earth. Never seen that before, man. Been rejected his whole life. Has been kicked out of heaven, sentenced to a painful, agonizing life, and you're supposed to love it. And it's going to be hard to do, bro. But just know that a 60-year-old guy can do that, and a 4-year-old kid can do that. And with the muscle, the hardest working muscle in your body is your heart. And if you get on my Patreon page and you're in my subscribers and all, this newsletter was just last Friday, and it came to me. I was like, going, man, I got to teach my kids how to fight with their heart. I teach my grandkids, I got 6 of them, teach them how to fight with my heart, with their heart. And not, hey, I got to stand by, my granddaddy's the trumpet. You know, you don't need to stand behind granddaddy. This is, you know, their uncle, and you know, quoting the Bible and and protecting the sheep and all that stuff. Man, that little girl right there's got to sling that sword. That's what we got to teach. And I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. My brain hurts so much from having put those seals together, and we're going to take a break for a couple of days. AJ has the desktop version. He's going to be uploading the seals and some shorts to that as we break down those seals. Make sure you go to my Patreon page if you please would, and you can see all of my work, download all of my stuff, the seals documents that are on there. Right there, go to my bio page, click on my link tree. Give me your email while you're on that link tree. It'll go to that page right there, and at the top, you can just give me your email address. I'd appreciate it. And then go to my Patreon page, and that's where, like I said, it's $3, and that'll get you a membership onto my Patreon page, and you can have all my pictures and all my work, and it's right there with all the scrolls, all the documents, the Book of Jubilees, and all those things that you can print right off. And you can just get lost in the pictures, and all that come out of my Bibles are amazing. And that 7 scrolls document, that one right there, it addresses each one of the seals, and the 7 seals one at a time. And me and AJ literally just did a podcast on my 26-year-old son on this with the chart, broke it down seal by seal for the first 4 seals. And we're using this chart in the explanation of this new chart that I made. So that's all what's got his brain fried today, because literally he put this all together. It all started going together when the seals, and you announce the succession, and you see how they line up, and when the millennial reign was, and all of that. So I certainly appreciate all of y'all sticking with me. I look forward to getting y'all this and more information of the little season, the rest of the dead, and the next time that we get together. AJ's going to have my podcast and all that stuff ready for us in the Patreon page. I appreciate every one of my subscribers so that we can do some private stuff there in the subscription page. And I love y'all and thank y'all for supporting me so much. Y'all have made all the difference and have got it to where I can focus on this full time. And that's probably why I've seen this stuff, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing teaching somebody how to sling a sword that's 4 or 5 years old and teaching us how to train each other to fight with our hearts, because that's the hardest working muscle we've got, and we all have one, and we all can sling a blade with that. And that's a tool. Just think, man, that's the tool that we all can sling. So just know that's what we got to fight with, is our heart. And I'm going to shut it off on 333,000 likes. I love y'all so much. And we've had just such a great success, man. I mean, to tell you, I just saw this today, and we went to go post something, and I was like, man, we got 6 million likes in the last 30 days because of this group that's in here. And I can tell, man, that's the same group. Y'all are always here, and I just keep about that many people in there. So those are my subscribers and my supporters and the people that are with me, and those are the people that I really do want to hear. The road is thin that we're on. We're not on a wide road. The wide road has a lot more distractions from it. We're on a thin road, and it's really... I don't think that I hear too many people saying, hey, I got to teach a 4-year-old how to fight with their heart and love everything. That made too much sense. I love y'all. Demon Slayer, you know what? Demon Slayer, man, me and you talk on here, and I've seen some of your comments, and now just think about it. We got to teach our grandkids and the little kids how to fight. So just know it is a straight and narrow road. It's skinny, and there's a bunch of traffic over there fighting and burning cars and doing all these terrible things. And the sword that we have to fight with is the sword of love. So let's end on a prayer real quick. Jesus, Lord, please fill our bodies and fill our minds and fill our souls with you so that there's no room for anything else. Please, Lord, let us continue to see this world through your eyes and hear this world through your ears and speak to this world with your beautiful words and love this world with your heart, because that's the main thing that gets us through everything is love, Jesus Christ. I certainly appreciate that. Please let us be found alive and working in you in your return, and let us found giving meat in due season, because blessed is that servant. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I love y'all so much, and y'all keep hitting that like button. I love y'all. Thank you, and y'all have a blessed day.